Members of Parliament are visiting various universities and colleges in KwaZulu-Natal to assess their state of readiness for this academic year. The Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, Science and Innovation is at the University of KwaZulu-Natal today. That's where we find Karinda Jagmohan, who is standing by for us. Karinda, good morning to you. Why is this visit important, and might it be an opportunity for students to voice their concerns?
Indeed, good morning to you, Oli. Well, at this point, the members of parliament have been visiting various universities. Today they stop at KZN, and this is really to assess the state of readiness. They're looking at issues of accountability, they're looking at issues of teaching and learning, as well as safety. Now, these specific visits are to speak with KZN management, not necessarily students, but however, we know that at the start of the academic year for tertiary institutions, which we're approaching now, we know that there has been sporadic student protests because of issues like governance in specific institutions or crippling student debt. And of course, we know from yesterday that student debt at this point is at 16.5 billion rand, and it's impacting the higher education sector. So these are the conversations that members of parliament are having with university management, as well as to assess whether they're ready to handle these various challenges that will approach universities in this academic year, from student protests to matters of accountability. Remember, in November last year, this very same parliamentary committee found that there has been issues of accountability and governance at some institutions in South Africa. So they're also looking to speak about that. Essentially, this is an oversight visit before we get into the academic year to ensure that the university is ready for what's to come. Now, of course, there is also the Parliamentary Committee on Science and Innovation at higher education institutions, and so some of the visits as well over the next week is to look at the projects that are coming out of institutions like KZN, DUT, or even the University of Zululand in the north, which the committee was at earlier this week, to look at the various specific projects related to science, innovation as well, that are coming out here that can be lent to a national scale. So there are various opportunities as well for students to take part in this. But of course, we're going to also ask the parliamentarians about alternative modes of funding for students now, something that was spoken about yesterday, because many students, especially those regarded as being in the missing middle, do not qualify for national funding, but they still can't afford to pay for higher education. So we're going to see what plans either the department or the specific committee from parliament could have, what ideas they've taken from higher education institutions in order to assist students with this issue of funding. That is really the most outstanding matter facing universities, TVET colleges, students themselves, is how to pay off these loans, these debts, in order to go forward, because of course employment comes with getting a degree. So that's really the core matter that's being discussed today, and later on we'll also speak to the chairperson of the committee on a way forward for the academic year.
Karinda Jagmohan, thank you very much for that update live for us at the University of KwaZulu-Natal.